So in this video, we are going to talk about the email templates, how you can automate email release notes along with attaching different types of documents like PDF, JSON files, PowerPoint files, MS Word, and etc. These kind of documents, how they can be attached into the same email and sending those emails out um, automatically to different stakeholders. So as you can see, I'm already in ARNR Automated Release Notes and Reports app, and on the templates page, you can see that there are a bunch of email templates and other types of templates created. So we will start from the scratch in terms of to explain how the creation template creation flow works. But I already have some sample templates created, so I'll go back to those sample templates to see real good output, right? So if I click on create template, you can see different types of templates here, right? So for now, I'll talk about the email templates. Once we are done with this, I'll also give you a quick brief on the other types of templates, which are basically different types of documents. Those can be attached within the email. So if I click on email and click on select here, we will this launches the template builder, right? So you can add a template name. You can define whether this template is at a global level or local level. So global level means wherever I create this template, meaning in whichever project I create this template, it can be accessed and used in any other in any other projects where ARNR is enabled, of course. But it can be edited only in the specific project it was natively created, right? Local template means that template remains specific to the project where it was created. It cannot be accessed or edited from any other projects. So generally, we have seen cases where organizations follow a standard format of their release notes, and given any type of template, of course, they follow a standard format, and then they utilize the same template from different projects across different projects to follow the same standard of the format. It's just that they will execute that template from the rules of the respective projects. So it's always good to use the global template if you are going to use the same format of templates across different projects. You can enable empty check if you want to, you know, ensure that emails are not sent when there is no data returned from any of the JQL sections added in the email. Spotlight issue is a separate feature. We have some videos created for Spotlight issue, but just to give you a brief, you can generate release notes for a single issue, because in some cases you want to fetch number of fields or create a report based on a single issue. So in such a cases you can use Spotlight issue. um, in this video we will stick to the generic email template or the generic use cases to understand how to create email templates. Now in the email body you can see bunch of options in terms of formatting, right? So you can do any type of formatting by using the color options, background options. You can add background images, you can add different links, etc. In terms of these macros which are specific to ARNR, so here you can add different variables. So for example, if I'm adding a project name, project ID, these variables will be dynamically replaced by the actual value. So when you are using a global template, you can simply use the project name, project ID, or any of these variables to ensure that you are not hard coding the template, and rather it is being dynamic. So the actual variable can be replaced with the real time value within the template when you are using it across the template. So from that perspective, it's always good to use variables. Apart from the basic variables, the default variables, you can use custom variable feature where you can add uh, associate these variables to the custom fields within Jira. Like for example, the customer name, issue key, or specific date range, etc. You can use custom variables for that. Even for custom variables, we have bunch of videos and some webinars on our YouTube channel. You can check if you think that custom variable feature could be a useful feature for you. JQL section is the core of any template that you're using within ARNR. So you will notice that we have these JQL sections here. This JQL section is typically meant for fetching all the new feature type issues here. Similarly, you can create multiple features, multiple JQLs for each of the issue type or to fetch any type of group of Jira issues here. Right. Again, you can see the formatting options. You can add description. JQL is the important part here because this will decide what all issues you are fetching in the specific JQL section. You can hide the section or just add a relevant message in case if this JQL section does not fetch any issues, right? This is the main part here. In terms of fields, you can fetch any kind of Jira issue fields like the basic and the custom fields here, and you can add different settings like add it as a text or make sure it is added as a link. You can add different header style and entry style formatting here, and for depending on each of the field type or the different fields here, there are a bunch of settings added here, based on the type of field you have added. Then there are different types of layouts. Of course, in case of table layout, you will notice that the fields becomes your column. So when you are using a tabular layout, each of these field will be added as a column. In sequential layout, you have flexibility to define your layout. It can be a bulleted layout, it can be a numbered layout, numbered list. You can add dividers, you can add different type of spacing, etc. You can add tables within table, etc. Right. It's just that when you are using a sequential layout, you need to use these fields, all or the field variables basically, to define your structure here. So you can see whatever fields we have added in the fields tab are displayed here in the form of field variables, and you can pick those field variables, copy them and paste them into the layout and do the formatting and the structuring of your sequential layout. When it is about grid layout, you can add 2 column, 3 column, 4 column grids where this basically look like a card structure where you can add these tables, and then you can define all the relevant field variables here. So that's how you can add. In terms of group by for each type of format, you can group this entire release notes by different fields, right? So for example, if you have parent fields in your Jira issue, so to take an example that you have an epic which has different stories, tasks, bugs, etc., and you want to group the entire release notes by parent. So at the top you will see the parent, summary and the key, and the summary and key of the epic, and then all the other issues will follow based on the fields and the layout structure you have defined. Or typically, we also have seen this to be, grouped by issue types as well, or the status categories and so on. So you can make use of this group by feature in different ways. When you are using group by feature, there are again some layouts, like you can define the layout here. In terms of settings, you can show how you want to display the issue type, key and the summary. In terms of, since we have selected the parent here, so you can display whatever parent issue is there, what all information should be displayed here, what should be the grouping behavior, whether it should be the combination of values or by the individual values and so on. So it decides whether it should show those repeated values or not, right? Because let's say if you are grouping this by a fixed version, and this is typically the cross project or multi project release note example, where you are generating release notes from different, and which also has different versions under each issue. So each issue that you are grouping, or it is grouped, it should be grouped under different, so same issue should be repeated under each version group or not, right? According to that, you can use the combination of values or the individual value. We have the detailed documentation in terms of group by options. Feel free to explore our extensive documentation. You will find the documentation link within the help tab of the app. So this was all about the layouts. In terms of stats and charts, you can add the count or the sum of different. So in terms of numerical, numerical aspects or the analytical aspects, you can use the stats and charts. We have two features where you can bring stat, which is the sum of specific custom fields number or the counts of the specific Jira issues. Mm, uh, and in terms of bar charts, you can fetch the bar chart as well. Here you add the GQL section, GQL to fetch the issues to generate those stats, and then rest of the settings will follow based on what type of counts or stats or charts option you are selecting. I'll show you a quick example of the stats when we move on to the actual sample release notes. Then, apart from that, you can see there are different macros like user macro to showcase the names of the team that has worked on the specific sprint or version. And then you can see that I have added bunch of variables here which are going to be replaced based on the uh, input you are giving, right? So for example, let us just quickly save this default template. So I'll just add it as a sample template demo here, and I'll save it, right? uh, okay, so you can see that I have saved this template here, and maybe I'll just keep it here at the top and preview it. So I'm going to select one of the versions here. It may or it might be the case that based on the data, it will show some missing data, or maybe formatting may not be correct, but yeah, I have some sample templates which shows accurate data. But still, this is a good output here. So you can see that based on each JQL section, you can see the stories are showing up here, then new features are there, tasks, bugs, etc. are there, right? So in this way, you can generate a quick release note email. You can add the logo, you can add the branding, etc. You can notice that the variables are now replaced here. The version name is replaced. Then release rumble is my project name that has been replaced. Release date is replaced. Here also project name is replaced, and the version description is showing up in place of the version description variable, etc. So in this way, you can make use of these variables to create your dynamic template. Now, this is a email template preview. Let us talk about quickly about some other templates. So, in terms of PDF, you can generate a PDF type of template where you will have or flexibility of designing your entire PDF with the help of these advanced settings, where you can add page title, page settings to define the page types, layouts, etc. And then you will have a title page, and you can add a background image here, then last page, how exactly it should be, and headers and footers, related settings, and so on, right? So in this way, you can define your entire PDF. Same way, you will have different types of templates like Word, PowerPoint, where you can create a PowerPoint slide deck of your release notes. Then you can use JSON, Markdown, and HTML type of formats where you can quickly use these JSONs, HTMLs on different platforms, like when you are deploying your releases or sprints, or maybe you can add these to repositories. Then you have MS Word. So all these type of templates that I just mentioned, HTML, Markdown, MS Word, JSON, PowerPoint, and PDF, these type of templates can be attached as into the email that you are sending out. So let us take a typical example here. So I'm going to look for a templates, specific template, which is release notes announcement email, right? So instead of adding the actual JQL sections, what I have done is I have added the branding. I have added just a quick announcement that we are glad to inform that this particular version from this project is out, and please check attached release note reports that include the list of Jira issues that were part of this upgrade. Here I have just added a shout out for the team members and a quick link to the support desk. So this is a simple announcement which will go into the email, and then we will also create I have also created a PDF template here. So if I filter by PDF, this is release. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. So release notes PDF attachment. So you will notice that I have added some stats here to bring counts of stories, bugs, and other type of issues. I have added an AI generator macro here. Um, so maybe I think I should just close this one. That's the better option actually. So this AI generator macro here, which is basically bringing a summary of the version based on the prompt I have given and the GQL I have added here. So it is going to bring a quick summary of all the issues from this version, and it is going to refer the summary of all the issues fetched from this GQL uh, as an input, and it will provide me an output based on the prompt I have given. This is a very short prompt, but you can definitely try out different prompts to get the expected summary of the sprint or version. Now, I have added only one GQL section because I'm going to group this by issue type. So from one single GQL section, I'm going to group the issues by its issue type. I have used a sequential layout where I have added this kind of formatting. If we go to the main layout, um, yeah, so this is the main layout, and in terms of the um, group by layout, I have just added it in the heading, and I have just added some color here, right? And then I have added a shout out for the team in the PDF as well. Now, when I preview this, you will see a nice formatted template here, or maybe I can pull the one that I had recently generated. So you can see that there is a title page with branding and the version name and the release date, and then there is a header. There are counts, release summary generate using created using AI generator, and then grouping by the type of issue. So these are the epics. Then there is a story, there are some stories, and then there are some tasks, and so on, right? So based on the layout structure I had created in the sequential layout and the grouping, this nice formatted PDF has been generated, right? So now, going back to the roots, now we are done with the template formatting. We have created the relevant templates. and so on. Now it's time to automate this entire email release notes with an attachment of PDF. Now, uh, I'll start creating a rule from the scratch. So let us say uh, release notes, let's say PDF report, right? So here I let us say I want to generate this on a manual trigger, which means I'll come back to a system and run this rule manually. But apart from that, you can also automate it as and when you mark a version as released. In this case, of course, this is post release note, so that's why it will be based on the version release. So whenever you mark any version as released in Jira, this entire rule will be triggered and it will send out an email with an attached PDF within that rule itself. So, right. So I'll keep this manual for now. I'll click on save, and now let's add actions, right? So you can see based on different template types we have different actions as well. So we are going to use email action first. So let's say uh, release announcement, and then I'm going to use that announcement template here, right? And then in the attachment, I'm going to select my release notes PDF, the same preview that I showed you here. And then you can add a reply to email. If you want the replies to this email to go to a specific inbox, you can use the default email, or you can also integrate SMTP here. So if you have integrated your SMTP, this email can be sent via your specific email address from a domain of your organization. Here you can add an email from option, so maybe release notes team or specific users name, etc. Then you have to configure the stakeholders part here. So if you are creating this as an internal email uh, release note email, you can use the Jira issues here. You can add those Jira issues. You can also select users by the different project roles. You can add different Jira groups. You can use the issue users like assignees, reporters, etc., or a custom field like approvers. And if at all these all options do not serve your purpose, like specifically in case of external stakeholders, you can add comma separated emails here, or you can also integrate your Salesforce to fetch those email addresses. So that's how you're going to create your entire email action, and click on save. You can also add BCC email here, right? So as and when this rule is executed based on uh, an automated triggers out of these, or even you are running it manually, it is going to generate an email and attached with the PDF. So let us take an example here. So let me ensure that I have added relevant users here. So saving it, and then I'm going to trigger this email, right? So if I trigger it manually, I'm going to give an input of a version and going to click on OK. So now as soon as I click on OK, you will notice that under the logs tab, we get the rule execution entry here, right? So I did not purposely uh, triggered an automation by marking a version release, because I have multiple, rules in my instance on version release trigger, and it might take some time to process all the rules and the specific rule that I want, right? But you can see there are some version triggers here, right? So this is a version release trigger, which is executing the kind of the same case where we are triggering an email with a PDF attachment. Now this action that I ran manually is now triggered. We can see that email and PDF attachments are created. Now I'm going to open my inbox. Let's see if I have got an email. Yeah. So this is Anu has just marked the email. So this is based on the you know email template subject line. So if we just go back to that announcement email, you will notice that this was the email subject, right? The username just marked the version name of this project released, and we have got that Anu just marked this version of release Rumble as released. And you can see that this has created a nice email that has proper branding, and it also has that PDF attached. If I open this PDF, you will see the similar kind of PDF because I have generated it for the same version, and this is the kind of PDF it has generated. So this was a very minimalistic PDF report that I have created. But apart from that, if you go to our template gallery, you will notice that we have different types of PDF reports. So if I just quickly preview this sprint review report, you can see the kind of title page it has added, the TOC is added. Then we have like a sprint overview, which has different dates, the team members' names, counts, sprint goal, and then in a different way, you can see that the issues are showcased here. If I look at another PDF here, which is release planning report, uh, it again has a completely different look and feel and the data structure, right? So, based on any kind of PDF format that you follow within your organization, you can design that template and you can send it. In terms of emails, let's see a few examples of the email as well. Of course, not a typical announcement email, but rather a detailed email release notes. So weekly customer support, or let's say release planning preview here of an email. This is how it will look like, right? So at the top here you can see some background images and a proper layout right within the email with a proper structure. So it's up to you whether you want to utilize uh, just email template to send out detailed release notes, or you prefer to send it as attached PDF and just make an announcement within the email. It's up to you based on the structure and the format you follow within your organization. So yeah, that's all about the email template and the kind of attachments you can add within the template. So, just to reiterate, you can add different types of attachments within the email based on your requirements. So, we have seen a use case where uh, teams send. So, let me get a proper example here, or maybe I'll just open any of the rules here with an email action, right? So in one email you can add different types of attachments here, right? So in Markdown I do not have any template, but in JSON I have one template. In HTML I do not have one, but I should have something in the Word, and then of course in the PowerPoint as well, right? So if I select these meaning attachment, which means in the single email you are sending six different types of attachment in one email. So it's not only about generating release notes for your external stakeholders, but it's also about sharing any kind of report or release notes within these different formats internally as well. So, a typical example is that before marking the version as released, you just want to review your release notes and get them, updated with the help of your technical writers or the release notes creator. You can just, send out an email attaching that raw Word file which has all the release notes to verify it. Or a lot of people use it to send out an internal slide deck to the relevant people who are going to present that particular release notes there, right? So there are multiple ways or multiple use case why and when you would want to attach these different types of documents in an email template. You can also attach multiple types of multiple attachments of the same type if you are using an advanced edition of this particular app. So we have free app of ARNR. We have standard, which is basically a paid edition of the app, and we also have an advanced edition which has some advanced features along with whatever is available in paid and free, and multiple attachment of same type is one of the advanced features, so you can do that as well. So that's all from my side in terms of the email template, along with automating, adding an attachment or multiple attachment to the release notes email or the reports. I hope this video was helpful. Please feel free to reach out to our service desk or use this chat for any kind of queries that you might have related to the app.